Hi, my name is Shaylee. Most of you know me as Healing with Shaylee on Facebook, and I decided that I wanted to do a theory series on Facebook. Now, a little background about myself is my parents told me that I was seeing things and hearing things once I started talking. So I've always had this sense of ghosts and spirits around me. And the older I got, the stronger it became. And there for a while when I was got adolescence age, I kind of just ignored it. And sometimes I would ask my friends, I'd be like, hey, you ever see this or hear that, And they'd be like, oh, no. And I'm like, haha, yeah, me either. I was just wondering, hypothetically, I saw it on a TV show, just kind of played it off. And because I thought I was crazy. Like, I'm like, well, no one else can see and hear these things. Like, I must be crazy. And I just kept it very, very quiet for a long time. And finally, I'd been going through a lot of things in my short little life. I'm 31 right now, and when I was in my early 20s, I always just felt like something was missing in my life, and I was constantly, constantly searching for it. And at first, I thought it was like I'm searching for my true love. And that led to many, many failed relationships. And finally, when I was 26 years old, I was like, what am I missing? And I started to dabble a little bit more into my gifts. And I didn't quite come out yet, but I was practicing with my grandma because she's a psychic as well. She's wrote 5 books, I believe. And so I was practicing like undercover or under the table with her, and I was still getting the same answers as her. And it was just, it just got stronger and stronger and stronger. And then when I was 29, I fully decided that I was going to come out to the world, that I am psychic. And not only am I psychic, but I'm a natural born healer. And it was rough. A lot of people were like, what? And some of my family was not okay with it. They were not on board with it. And, it hurt a little bit. But for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was searching for anything anymore. That whole time, I was searching for myself. And I don't regret it one bit. And here we are, 2 years later, going strong. And I got on my Facebook, I have close to 9K followers. And it's so amazing. I'm so blessed to have you all with me and to work with you guys every single day. It's been a blessing. And each time that I work with each one of you, I grow tenfold, you grow tenfold. And we're just here to create a better life within ourselves and to accept ourselves. And all this planet needs is just a little bit of love. So that was a little background about me for those who didn't know. Um, I think I came up with my first theory when I think I'd had to been 16 years old. Um, I'd gone through 2 experiences that were very similar. One, I had taken a picture of something, I think it was a robe, and to my physical eyes, the robe was laying on the ground. You know, nothing, just looked normal. But when I developed the picture, the robe was actually being picked up like this, and there was a green orb around it. And I had 3 people in the room with me, and none of us saw the robe like that. And I wish I could show you guys this picture today, but it was with my grandma and she cannot find it. So, but I had many other people who've seen this picture and can vouch that that's what happened. Another time, I had my second daughter's, no, sorry, my my first daughter, her blanket was sitting on my grandma's couch. And I know specifically I set it there because I didn't want it on the floor for obvious reasons as a mom. And I was talking to my grandma and my grandpa, and things were just, normal day. And I looked back over, and the blanket is on the floor. And I looked at my grandma and I looked at my grandpa, and I'm like, we would have seen if someone moved that. Like, you would have seen, the motion of it going onto the floor. And so that's when I was sitting there and I thought deeply about it. And I'm like, what if there are different planes? And what if there's a different dimension? What if they they pulled it like they had it in their dimension and then moved it where it came back into our 3D? So that was the first theory that I came up with, because I said there is no way that our 3D eyes would not see it move. Like, I was sitting right where it was in hindsight. Like, there's no way I would have not seen it move. But it disappeared and then came back in like nothing had happened. That was my first time. I was 16. And by this time, I have not read any books, you guys. I just want you all to know that. I have not read any books at this point in time on dimensions, different planes, higher self, nothing of like that. I'm a complete newbie when it came to everything. This was just a thought that came to me. Like, I knew there was no way that a 3D object could move without me seeing it in the 3D plane. And I knew 100% deep down in my bones that it was taken out of our plane and then brought back in at a different spot. And I think that's why a lot of times we have things move that we're not aware of, because, like, we could be like, oh, set something down, go do something else, and we come back and 100% you did not leave that there. That it was at first on the counter and now it's over on the kitchen table. I know many of you have had that experiences. And as I grew up, I've only read, okay, so I read part of a book, just so you guys know, like, of where I am with all my theories, that I'm not just gathering this from other people. I've read Dolores Cannon's New World book, and I read David Wilcock, like his first chapter in one of his books about plants having feelings and being scared, and that's it. And Dolores Cannon's book was all about her hypnotism with aliens and being able to connect, and like what doomsday is going to look like. So it wasn't really, there was nothing I've ever learned about dimensions or anything like that. All this has been things that I've thought, or through channeling I've received those messages. So I just kind of wanted to let you guys know that right there. Um, so far, my theory on dimensions is that they're all simultaneously happening at once. And what I mean by that, we have many past lives, whether we're human, alien, whatever the case may be. And I truly believe that everything is happening all at the same time. And that's why I believe you get deja vu, is because something has already happened in that same scenario in a different reality. And so it's like, dude, I've done this before. It's because you have. That is my theory on it. And there's lots of times that when 100%, like, I was driving one time, and I've driven this road a million times, and I swear to God, this old house was never there. And all of a sudden, it's now there on the trip, and I'm like, I know that's never been there. It's because the alternate reality, something changed simultaneously, and now it's there. It's always been there. And you might think that's crazy. That's totally fine. These are just my theories. Like I said, I either get these from channeling, or like my brain works in trying to figure out, how is this plausible? Like, how can I make this so I understand it and others can understand it? And a lot of people can argue about the simultaneous theory, about everything happening at once, which is totally okay, because That's their theories. But I truly believe everything's happening. Like your past life from, I don't know, 3,000 years ago is happening right now. And that's why people are always talking about the timeline. Like, don't mess up the timeline, do this or that, because you can mess a lot of things up. But there's no such thing as time. Time is what you create. This moment here, this is it. And it's going to keep going. It's going to be energy that just right here. It's going to keep on rolling. And in another life, there's going to be a different part. Well, maybe my hair is black, maybe I'm super tall, or maybe I don't even do this at all. It's because we're here to live these different experiences. There's still a purpose. It's not just about experiencing. There's a higher purpose to all that. But we'll get into that later because I'm only talking about dimensions at this point. Now, when we talk about dimensions, it's a curious thing to sit here and be like, okay, we have all these other planes, this and that, but what else is out there? Like, who moved that blanket? Like, who's controlling these things? Who comes in and talks to me? Like, what plane are they under? It's all energy. It is complete energy. It is beautiful energy. And they're real. Aliens are real. Spirits are real. Ghosts are real. And even negative energy is real. Anything that you can think in your mind, you can create an actual different reality. Our brain is so powerful. You you can't even fathom what it can do. And when we come here, we get conditioned to believe and learn and feel a certain way. But there's people like me who question their authority. There's people like me who say, "Wait, that doesn't feel right." Just because that's how it's been doesn't mean that's how it should be. We should always be evolving and we should always be growing. There's multiple dimensions, and I know everyone's like, oh, I've heard people talk about like there's 8 dimensions or 12 dimensions. And honestly, I can't tell you what number there is because I'm sure there's more than we can even understand. I think there's a dimension for every reality we create. Imagine all of those when you're daydreaming or just dreaming, everything you are putting into action into the universe. That number is infinite. And that's why I won't tell you how many dimensions there are. Now, on a living scale, there's higher frequencies and higher vibrations that certain energies work on in species, most definitely. But that doesn't mean that that dimension ends there. No, it does not. To wrap this up, we are living in the 3D dimension. And our goal as light workers, so they say, is eventually to work up to 5D. I can connect to 5D, but I'm physically in 3D. That's where I still have ego. And it is important to have ego, which we can get in on a different series. But this is all 3D and you have to have balance. And there's not a balance in the world right now. But there will be. And it will all be okay. I promise. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be on next Saturday and we will get into my beliefs on how powerful our brain is and what my theory is on the percentage we actually use. You guys have a super great night. Make sure that you like and subscribe so you don't miss out on my series. Bye, guys.